ABC Kinderteach presents A Chair for My Mother, written by Vera B. Williams. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. After school, sometimes, I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too. So this must be her mother, and she is working in a restaurant. I wash the salts and peppers, the shakers, and fill the ketchups. One time I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. That sounds like a lot of peeling. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time I put half of my money into the jar. She's saving half of her money. I wonder why. Maybe she's going to buy a bicycle? It takes a long time to fill a jar this big. Wow, that's a big jar. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all her change from tips, money you get from people for doing a good job serving them food, out of her purse for me to count. Then we push all the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I count the money out into piles. Some days she has lots of tips. Some days she has only a little. Then she looks worried. But each evening, every single shiny coin goes into the jar. We sit in the kitchen to count the tips. Usually Grandma sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often she has money in her old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain, a good price, on tomatoes or bananas or something she buys, she puts by the savings and they go into the jar. So the grandma gives some money for the jar too. I wonder what they're going to buy. And look how tired the mother is. When we can't get a single other coin into the jar, we are going to take out all the money and go and buy a chair. Oh, they're going to buy a chair, not a bicycle, a chair. Yes, a chair, a wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We are going to get the best chair in the whole world. That is because our old chairs burned up. There was a big fire in our other house. All our chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. That wasn't such a long time ago. So they had a fire in their old place, and everything burned down. Oh, that's sad. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals. She had new pumps, which looks like this. We were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking at everyone's tulips, which looks like this. She was saying she liked red tulips, and I was saying I liked yellow ones. Red tulips, yellow ones. Then we came to our block. Is this when they're going to see the fire? Right outside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of the roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Right there. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. There they are running. My Uncle Sandy saw us and ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" My Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here, she's okay, don't worry." Grandma was all right. Our cat was safe too, though it took a while to find her, but everything else in our whole house was spoiled or ruined. What was left of the house was turned into charcoal and ashes. Look at all the stuff burned. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ida, and Uncle Sandy. Then we were able to move into the apartment downstairs. We painted the walls yellow. The floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very empty because they didn't have any furniture. It all burned up, and they have to wait to buy furniture when they have money. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream, and they brought a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us his beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans, silverware and dishes. My cousin brought me her own stuffed bear. Hers must have burned up too. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You are all the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very, very much. It's lucky we're young and can start all over." Well, the grandma's not so young, but she's young enough. And see people bringing tables and a chair and some cake and some other things for them. Lots of other things. Beds. There's the bear. That was last year, but we still have no sofa or couch and no big chairs. When Mama comes home, her feet hurt. "There's no good place for me to take a load off my feet," she says. When Grandma wants to sit back and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get as comfortable as she can on the hard kitchen chair. So that is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the diner, and all the coins started to go into the jar. Now the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so I could put it in. Wow, that is a lot of coins, but they don't have much money, so it takes a long time to save up the nickels and dimes for a chair. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. "Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it's full," Mama said. "My mother brought home little paper wrappers for the nickels and the dimes and the quarters. I counted them all out and wrapped them all up. On my mother's day off, we took all the coins to the bank. The bank exchanged or traded them for $10 bills. Then we took the bus down to shop for our chair." And this is the bank. "We shopped through 4 furniture stores. We tried out big chairs and smaller ones, high chairs and low chairs, soft chairs and harder ones. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks and the 3 bears trying out all the chairs." This is a big chair. And there she is, and that must be Grandma. Finally, we found the chair we were all dreaming of. I wonder which one it is. I bet it's this one. And the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. They came right down in their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. They knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered, which means they needed the chair right away, not in a couple days. I tried out our chair in the back of the truck. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove, but they let me sit in it while they carried it up to the door. So when they carried it in the house, she was sitting in it. We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Grandma and Mama and I sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now, Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime because it's near the window. I think they're on the first floor. She can talk to people going by. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her job. After supper, I sit with her and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap. Wow, that's a nice chair. And there they are sitting in the chair.